Here we go.
Here we go.
Hey, yo, welcome to this episode of Cocktails and Combos. Make sure while you're watching, go ahead and start a watch party, like, share, subscribe. Find us on YouTube, find us on Instagram. Tonight's topic is going to be a little bit more serious, perhaps, than some of our other ones. We are talking about protecting our boys and why they are not necessarily protected in the same way as they are, as we protect our young girls. But before that, we are going to discuss the runoff election. So we all know that January 5th, which is my birthday, by the way. So if anybody does want to give me gifts, I do like purses.
You want a Birkin?
No, I'm not that fancy. I'm not that fancy. Not that fancy. But so what we're going to discuss is just kind of like some of the four candidates and kind of what this election means. So, Teron, I'm starting with you. Vote.
Get them.
Did you vote?
Yeah, I voted Monday.
Okay.
My daughter told me don't vote for John Ossoff because he steals money.
Oh.
I said, well, where did you get that from? And she was like, I heard it on my mama's work phone.
He's in.
I was like, oh, god dang, on TV. So.
Wait, so I thought that was like the other two that were.
They all steal money, but you know,
Yeah. Like,
these
okay.
commercials nowadays are so dramatic. Like the music that come on is just so like dark. And my 37 years of living, I've never seen no political ads like how they are now. Like,
Yeah.
everything is just bad, like
Yeah.
bashing the other person.
Yeah.
You're this horrible person, and you steal, and you do this, and everybody got a pass, right?
Correct.
But them other two colonizers, I wouldn't mess with them.
Not colonized.
Yes, they are.
Colonizers. Oh, well.
Y'all really don't know
Yeah.
me yet, but
Well, no, because I mean, I've heard a lot about Loeffler and Perdue. I'm not like super familiar I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I like before the election stuff, I didn't know who they were.
Correct.
Or like what they stood for until it became a matter of this now determines who controls the Senate, which is, I guess, like the biggest piece of this whole puzzle, right? So for Biden and Harris to be able to like really get anything done, because we need the Senate. So it's like if Mitch McConnell stays as the leader of the Senate, like we're not gonna be able to get, like nobody's gonna be able to get shit done.
But if it's tied up, then we'll have our MVP who will be able to break the tie on any votes. So, which is a good thing.
Very true.
You know what I mean? But it's just sad. It's sad that people don't vote. It's sad that people don't. They always think about like, well, you know, my vote don't count or ain't nothing gonna change anyway. Well, you're right. Ain't nothing gonna change if you don't put the people in place to or put pressure on them to do things. Like,
Very true.
So it's just crazy. It's sad. It's crazy. Hopefully, these two Democrats win so we can try to see change. And if people voting for what's her name again? Loeffler. If they vote for her,
She's the worst.
the worst person.
She's a
ever.
fembot. I don't know if some of y'all
Which
don't
is
know what that
crazy.
is, but she's a fembot.
You might want to tell our audience, what is a fembot?
Fembot. So back in the day, back when I was a young girl, I used to watch these television shows, The Bionic Woman and The Bionic Man, and they had a thing called fembot. This is a long time ago.
Telling her age.
So, right, this is good TV back then.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. There was a thing called the fembots. They were these beautiful ladies that looked just like us, but they were robots. And they would come and they would be all cute and everything. Then all of a sudden the fembot would blow up and then she started smoking and she was a robot and that's her. Fembot.
So she's controlled.
Yes.
She's
Absolutely.
Obviously she's smart, right? Because her husband owns the Dow Jones. That's that.
But just
But I
because
mean,
he
that doesn't
owns
mean
it doesn't
smart.
mean she's smart.
Does
Well,
not.
No,
She just
because
does not marry well.
Exactly. She
Right,
knows
but-
how to marry well.
right, but she worked her way up there to get to him in order to marry him to get part ownership of the NAS, and she owns she's a co-owner of the Dream. When she has like biased views against the LBGT
Right.
and all that,
And
and
one of her
majority
players
people-
came out
right,
and spoke on that.
right, which is
Yeah.
crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy, like, but hey, either way, ain't nothing gonna change for me.
Well,
But I mean, I think in all honesty, with all of the social media and the commercials and everything that are out, you know, she portrays herself as, you know, she's here to help, she's here to do this, do that. But there was the one commercial that Warnock showed.
Where she was at his church.
Where she's at his church, she's saying she's happy to be here, she's welcome, you know, she wants to come back. But then you're on this commercial bashing his church.
Yes.
You know, so that right there is already automatically kind of pointing out that you can change your views at a matter of a second, you know, just to make you look good.
We all change our views.
But if you're wanting to be in this type of office, what makes us feel like we should be comfortable because, oh, this is going to make me look better, so I'm not going to go off of what I told everybody I'm going to do.
That's because I think that she's really don't care about like our vote. Because, well, they're learning now since Georgia turned into a blue state. They're learning that majority of the votes is coming from the Atlanta area. Majority of people in Atlanta is black. When normally I could just go to, hey, Kennesaw, or I can go Jasper. Like, these are the people I got to worry about. Like, them people I want to vote. Now I see I need these people. You know what I mean? So that's why.
But I think that was like the important part of the whole election was like all the groundwork that Stacey Abrams did, because as many thousands of new voters that she registered was the reason why all these people in Fulton County came out. So then, you know, now everybody is doing what I think is like the biggest form of voter suppression or the biggest form of racist thing that you could do when it comes to a vote is try to delegitimize. What's the word? Delegitimize.
There you go.
We're learning a new word today, guys.
Delegitimize.
Thank you, girl.
She's learning.
That's our teacher for the night, y'all.
There we go.
I'll be saying
That's
that.
right.
That's right.
Hold on.
But I mean,
It's been a long day. But to me, I'm like, that's been one of the biggest forms of racism is to say this can't be valid because black people's votes don't matter.
which is very true. And I think an example of it is how we stepped up to vote for the presidential election.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you had Trump wanting to overthrow these votes when you could say majority of those votes were black.
Yeah.
Or, you know, not of a Caucasian selection, you know what I'm saying? So it's always going to be something to where when we are finally strong enough to, you know, step up and have our voices heard, there's always going to be some type of hurdle, some type of, you know, weight on our ankle to try to pull us back. And I think just if we were strong enough, if we were to keep pushing as what we're doing now together, you know, committed to doing this, we got plenty of room to go. We got plenty of things to do and many more, you know, steps and tracks to run.
Yeah.
But I also think that we as a people don't understand the importance of voting on all levels.
Correct.
You know, everybody wants to vote for the president. Everyone wants to vote for the president, but they don't understand that
It's not just the
the
president.
president only
Right.
can do so much.
Correct. You have the Senate,
Senate,
you have the House,
come on.
you have all of
You
this.
have all that.
The
Those are
mayor.
the ones that actually make things
The
happen.
judicial,
Okay?
Like the
so
local-
what it
you're talking
starts
like
with
local
judicial,
level.
then it starts with
Yeah.
the House,
The House,
then the Senate. Is
I don't know.
actually
Yeah,
how
that's
it
fine.
actually works.
That's fine. I'm fine.
Because
I
I
think
think
that
that just
people-
chime in on comments.
I'm fine. That's what I'm fine.
I think media-wise, people portray it as though, oh, the president makes the final call. But if you actually
Yeah.
do your research, do your learn this education, then you would know
You would
it's
know it.
more than just presidential. That president doesn't have the final say
But
because
you know,
if the
we
president
actually
had the
taught
final
it
say,
early on in
Trump
life.
would have us in so
Yes,
much
you was
debt
stole
and
words
so
out my
much
mouth.
trouble.
Yes, we were actually taught this early on in life in school.
But nobody
we,
paid
we
attention.
didn't pay attention.
We didn't pay
hold on
attention.
to it. Because
Correct.
we was tested on it. We had a report due.
You had an open
Project.
book test,
Open
you know.
book.
We
all
don't
that.
understand it then.
But you know what? We just put it back in the head with fractions.
Correct.
And geometry. We don't need it.
Correct.
But the importance of that is still valid, even though you think that you don't need it. You need it more than anything else.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
Well, maybe you guys should get on the ground and educate these people so they'll know.
Well, I think after this presidential selection here, after this whole thing here, I think a lot more people have been, you know, informed and they're aware now. You know, we've never had this much outcome of people, celebrities and everything putting out to get out there and vote, get out there and register.
That's because was dealing with an asshole.
Right. So I was about to say.
After this, then it'll probably go back to normal.
Back to regular.
You know, back to regular
Like,
program because
yeah.
again, nobody don't care.
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't say that because whenever a president gets in office, we go off of what they say, but as soon as they get in office, you're just like, whoa, You know,
You said-
are you going to continue to push for what you said, or are you going to do the big switcheroo?
Right.
Did you vote during? I guess that would be the Bush and what's his name with the hand that couldn't.
Like not John
Who
McCain.
did Bush run against? The last
First Bush, last
Last
Bush.
Bush. The last Bush ran against with the
John
hand.
Doe?
No, John Doe.
John
Did
Doe.
you vote?
Yes,
Doe.
I sure did.
Who'd you vote for?
Dole.
I did too.
Did you vote before that?
Yes, I did.
Who'd you vote for?
I'm not old enough to have voted for those people.
Clinton.
Oh, yes, you are.
Clinton.
I did vote for Clinton. Matter of
I was-
fact,
I know.
during that Clinton election portion, we were in high school, and they even brought it to the high school. They brought the voter
I think-
booths to the
I
high
think
school for
Clinton
those
was
of
the
us who
first
could vote.
To learn how to vote.
Second term.
Sure did.
Second term Clinton was the first vote that I was. Even
That was my
legally
very first ever
old
vote.
enough to vote in.
For real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second term Clinton? When was
Yeah.
that? When you
Shit, yeah, that's what I'm like thinking. Like, what
I'm just saying. So
Shit.
I was born in.
How old are you?
I
was born in '85.
I was 84.
I was 83, so I didn't. What the hell?
Yeah.
Oh, what age you vote at? 18?
Yeah.
18.
Hey, who was the first person you voted for?
Shit.
Probably the same.
Kwame killed Kwame in Detroit?
Oh, Lord.
Kwame?
This is what we mean. Educate
Oh,
yourself.
Obama?
Probably the same. Like, oh, the first one was Obama. Okay.
Educate yourselves and those around you so that they know what's going on.
Oh, Obama.
So,
My first vote.
so I do, but I guess I would like to think that it doesn't go back to regular because I think there has been a shift in how much people are paying attention right now. So there's people that were not paying attention that are paying attention more now, that are actually like reading stuff and looking into stuff and
Correct.
like really
They're
kind
actually
of
aware of what's
understanding
going
now.
on and
Right.
what,
Yeah.
what their choices, how their choices affect their lives.
Mhm.
I think also because there's so much going on in the world right now that's snatching everyone's souls.
Attention.
Correct.
And they are just like, okay, what can I do to make this
To
shit
avoid it
stop?
or to change.
Like,
it.
what can we do?
That-
Is it for the children? Is it for the elderly? Is it our economy?
Mhm.
Is it, nature, the environment? What
Yeah.
is it? Because there's so much fuckery going on right now and on all levels. Like, what can we do? Oh, we have to vote? Okay, let's vote. I'm willing to try that because before, no one was doing it as much.
And I think another
You know.
good thing right now that's going on is that the what's his name? Biden.
I'm like,
She's
I
like,
can't-
I put on makeup for this.
Exactly.
The people need to see me.
Thank you.
We gotta make sure
I
it's
think
good
that
to see.
Biden
Hello.
is doing a change. Like now we're seeing he's putting people in the cabinet that relates more to the world, right?
Yeah, so I've been paying attention to that, and I think what he's doing is good because today he announced Pete Buttigieg as the
You have headphones, Kevin? Where's your
do
volume?
I don't.
He could not make it here. You should be able to see him on the trying to get the
I don't know what I look like on this thing. Do I look crazy? All right.
I was just like roll tide to Tuesday. Just we're talking.
Hold on. I do got headphones. My bad, y'all, for fucking up y'all production. I got some.
Because mute. No, there needs to be because the feedback is coming from his end. So he needs to find like yeah, see how like headphones will.
All right, there we go. My bad, y'all. My bad.
Much better.
Alright,
much better.
My bad.
Now turn your
Now
camera.
now you're
Now
sideways.
turn your camera.
So now the whole
Did I fix it?
Perfect.
No, Jesus, we gonna get it together next week.
Y'all, we're gonna have this like on point to where we got this, okay, y'all?
Maybe or maybe not, but we here. Okay, I can't remember what we were saying.
Okay, so we were still talking about the presidential and understanding where things are, where things, will go from here and there. So on this subject, guys, we're just kind of putting it out there for people to understand that it goes more than just the presidential elect. Like, you have to go out there and also vote for your judicial. You have to go out there and vote for your state. You have to go out there and vote for Senate.
Like, even down to the county commissioner, like, we
Correct.
have to vote for all of it. And the fact that we're not even, I don't think most
people
people
all
can.
have to run for it too.
You're right, because there's a lot of
A
people
lot
that
of
are
stuff
running
come-
unopposed.
Right, a lot of people run unopposed.
Yeah, so it's
I
like,
ain't even black.
yeah,
You already got.
right. It's like, it doesn't even really matter, but I'm not gonna, I can't bring myself to vote.
I'm that guy that go in there and just hit Democrat on my own. Who the hell people that is Democrat?
No, I'm the same way. I'm definitely the same way. But so basically the whole point of this was please go out January 5th and vote. I don't care which way you vote. I mean, I sort of care, but I'm trying to be, but just
It
vote.
matters that you vote. Get out there and vote.
And just remember that
Don't
that's my birthday.
complain if you don't vote. You get jammed up out here. That's
And
your
you have
fault.
man.
plenty of time to vote before the 5th.
Right, early
So
voting
you
has
go
already
ahead and
started.
do it. Like,
Yeah, you can go ahead and do it now.
you got dates. Get it done.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
this seems like a good time for a PO.
Here.
Pale Ales. Time for the pale ales.
Lord have mercy.
What is that?
Okay.
He said LLs.
Oh.
Is that Pop-Tarts?
And while we're doing this, we had a few comments from Marlon, and we also had a comment from Wendy. Wendy said she had no clue that the Supreme Court judges held their position for this for life until this year.
Mhm.
And actually, I remember when I graduated high school, I wanted to be the president, but then I was like, no, I actually want to be the Supreme Court justice because I knew that. Because his first person that he voted for was Al Gore. And then
That's who it was. Al Gore.
Yeah.
Al Gore. I'm talking
Yeah.
about Bob
powerful
Dole.
practice that the
I think Bob knows.
Bob Dole's like a orange
Yeah.
juice.
Okay, what are you drinking, Kevin?
Struggle juice. You know me.
Struggle juice.
Is that Jen?
Yes, ma'am. It is. The cheapest is gin too. I had to get it at the gas station because I ain't make the liquor store in time.
What do you mean?
Okay, so call.
Okay,
All right,
so
beer time, y'all.
this beer is Dew Claw Brewing Company. It's called Hop Tarts, Wild Berry Double IPA.
Oh, hell yeah.
Double IP.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love the idea that was big.
Y'all can have
Cheers.
talk to your sister over here.
Talk to me,
Oh,
guys.
IPA.
I don't smell the blueberry.
Oh, wait a minute, I can dig this.
Oh,
Hold on.
Nope.
I actually don't like this.
It's actually not bad.
It's not bad.
And of course, it's because we like it. You don't like it.
It tastes like
Beverly.
green tea without the sugar.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think it's delightful.
Oh, it's better than that.
And it's got an aftertaste, y'all. It's
And
not
this
real
is a
bad.
double IPA too, so I'm surprised y'all like this.
I don't.
Damn, I'm missing out on the pale ales.
I mean, it's drinkable, but I would not pick this. I would definitely not pick this. Okay, so tonight's conversation is about protecting our boys. So I think as many of us know, sexual abuse goes very underreported in the Black community as a whole, but what's even more underreported than that is sexual abuse among Black men. And the fact that as a society, we kind of teach our boys to not show emotions or not talk about these things. And we're just going to jump a little bit into that today. So since this was a topic brought by Nakia,
Oh,
come on, girl.
well, it was brought by me because I saw a video on Instagram, and it was about a young man who was is in his late teens, and I believe he's either in high school, graduating high school, or going to college. Or graduating college. No, going D1. So he's going to college. So graduating college and graduating high school, going to college, and pretty much when he was 12 years old, he was molested by his dad, his biological dad. And his mother didn't believe him when he told her. And then later on down the line, the parents ended up in divorce and blamed it on him. He decided to.
They both blamed it on
They
him?
both-
the divorce
they
on
both-
him?
They blamed the divorce on him. He decided to move forward and forgive his father. And once he decided to forgive his father, the father was not in the home at this point, but he went to go stay with him and, do whatever. And his father abused him again, sexually abused him again.
What age was he when that happened?
So
Sound like a
I
Tyler
don't know.
Perry movie. Jesus
So I
Christ.
would say mid-teens, I would assume. And then from there, he decided he was done with his father. And now his father's trying to come around because he's getting D1 offers for sports. And he's just like, I have nothing. I have nothing for you. So that struck a part in my heart because we talk about sexual abuse of our girls a lot, but we never really talk about the boys. And it happens so often, and we know that it happens. Even with obviously in the Catholic community, churches is been happening a lot, but not even just in the Catholic churches. Obviously at home as well. And
Boy Scouts of America.
Boy Scouts of America. And it's sad. And it's sad. It's sad. And I don't know what to do. And the problem that I'm having is the fact that parents don't believe the adults are not believing the children. And that's the craziest thing to me ever, to hear that an adult does not believe a child. I don't care how many times a child lies. Anytime you tell me you're being hurt, I'm gonna believe you.
Yep.
Any single time, every single time, I'm gonna believe you.
Correct.
So
is that a reaction too?
Yeah.
You said what? What happened? Okay.
right.
Okay, it ain't happening no more, baby.
Yes,
Exactly.
I mean, I've actually had a personal experience of that. My son, he was younger. He was in his elementary time. He came home and he said, "Mommy, I was touched." So I'm flipping. I'm mad. I'm pissed. I'm calling the principal. I need a meeting. Teacher, everybody. And the teacher, not the principal, the teacher blew it off saying, "Oh, this is what I teach the kids, is that everywhere on them is their private spot."
The teacher in question or the teacher?
No. He said he was touched by another child.
Oh.
And I'm going off because I'm like, no child, what are you doing in this class, or you're not monitoring these children? No one should be touching my child. And so the teacher tried to kind of blow it off to say, well, I teach them in the class that everywhere is their personal spot. And I said, no. And I stood my son right here. I said, where did you get touched at? Because I teach my children private spots.
Right.
My son pointed to his private spot. The teacher was all just bewildered, not knowing. Come to find out, that child was actually getting abused in his home.
At home. So that was like the normal.
Yeah.
That was normal for
Right.
him. But I'm flipping because I'm going off on the teacher, because my son said he told the teacher and she told him to go sit down. What you not gonna do is disregard my child when he comes to you and he tells you he just got touched in his private spot. Because I know a lot of you as parents, who have younger children, you teach your children private spots, private areas. So when my son said he was touched in his private place.
He wasn't touching on his fucking shoulder.
Right.
I mean, come on.
My
Yeah.
child,
Yeah.
look,
Wasn't even a.
that wasn't my arm, that wasn't my neck, no.
Go ahead.
So I'm going off and I'm looking at this principal, I'm looking at this teacher.
Like y'all are accountable.
You're hell of accountable.
Yeah.
Because my son came to you and said, so-and-so touched me in my private place.
Yeah.
And you just brushed them off.
Right.
Because you teach the children, everywhere is private.
No.
Fuck you. And I'm sorry. That
That wasn't about me.
the
No.
mama bear out of me came out.
You needed for that, baby.
No.
Yeah,
I
they
mean, as
needed
far
that.
as-
Fuck you.
Fuck you. I'm sorry. You're not going to disregard my child, which no parent, no adult, no teacher, nothing should disregard a child that comes to you, no matter what age. Because if that child decided to come to you, that child felt uncomfortable in some form, shape, or
Yeah.
fashion.
And there's also some children that are taught not to say anything when something
Because
happens to them
correct.
because they're not going to be believed or no one's listening to you.
Or
Because
the
you're
ones
just a
causing
kid.
the abuse will sit there and
To
try
tell
to,
you,
you know,
yes.
mind fuck them and say, now
Don't
don't say
tell
anything
nobody.
because they're not gonna believe you. You do have children, but it's how you raise your children.
What age was this?
He was in elementary. My son was in elementary, so that was around when he was about 7.
Okay. Cause see, like, I understand I would probably murder somebody if they ever touched my child. But
Oh, they was glad I was behind the desk.
so I guess like
Just
just
jump over.
Oh, I damn sure could. And I knew the school resource officer. Try me if you want to.
They're like, ooh.
so I guess just for the sake of, because none of us are educators, right?
Right.
So I'm just thinking from the perspective, you're the teacher. A child tells you this. As a teacher, you can't, I'm like, I don't know what the proper way is to handle that. Because do you take this side or that side? Especially if you weren't there to see it. Because like your job, your whole livelihood could be at stake if you fuck it up. Like if you get what happens wrong,
Yeah.
like your livelihood could be taken away.
Which is very correct, but, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but in most educators' job, in most educators' education, they are taught a level of sociology, psychology. You should be able to tell how this child's body language is. This child is often to himself, you know, quiet, not involving himself.
Yeah.
So you should have already been aware something was not right when it involved this child in this particular instance. Because that means right there, you as an educator are not involved. You are not knowing your class, knowing these children.
Exactly.
Because when we grew
Seeing
up,
how that child is around a particular child.
correct.
That
If
one
this child is
particular
showing
child,
importance
Yeah.
or more attention to this child, you as an educator should be focusing on your class and say, this is not right. But you have a lot of educators out there now that are just for themselves. Let me just get this day over with so I can go home.
There's a lot of them that are, and part of it I do understand, because not necessarily at that elementary age, but at like middle school, high school, a lot of these kids are being raised like very disrespectfully.
Correct.
And are like putting hands on teachers.
Correct.
Now it's a lot of teachers that have ended up in jail behind some bullshit or like behind a child telling a lie. Not necessarily saying that was the situation that we're talking about, but as a person, like I have several friends that are educators, and you know, we talk about like difficult things that have happened, not necessarily like sexually being touched, but that's got to be a very difficult space to be in, of trying to like navigate that. You know what I
No,
mean?
not really. That's not a difficult space at all. I don't see why that would be a difficult space. Like you're as an educator, that's a part of your protocol. That's part of your training. Every single situation that comes your way, you got to treat it as if that's fact. I got to investigate it. So there should be no gray area.
Yeah. But to just like automatically just okay, investigate, yes. So I think where I guess the space that I'm coming from is like, if somebody tells me this, I'm gonna take it and try to get the other side of the story as well. Like I can't just automatically assume that what this person is saying over that person is saying, because that's what I mean when I say it's a difficult space, especially dealing with kids that are that young.
I get that, but just as simple as Sid said, all she did was put her son in the middle of the room and say, "Show me where he touched you." The teacher could have did that, and we could have gotten to the bottom of that real quick.
Yeah, that part I get, and that I'm not disputing that part of it at all. I'm saying for just on the other side, because again, anytime that my son got into even a fight at the school, I was up there ranting and raving and pointing fingers. So I'm not just understand that. Like I probably, especially when he was in high school.
Touch my baby.
That's right.
Oh no. These were like physical altercations, or even when we first moved here, my son went to like Atlanta public schools where they're teaching children how to read with books that start with lowercase letters on sentences. And he had a teacher. My son was in second grade and was going to like third grade math, fourth grade reading. And this teacher, adult grown man, told my child, that, oh, had you been in my math class, you would have been getting an F because of this, that, and whatever. And I said, who the fuck do you feel like you are to talk to a child that is obviously more advanced than what you're teaching?
What you got?
Yeah. Exactly. You know what I mean? So there are issues like even that, like where I had another situation, like I don't even think the abuse part of it is necessarily strictly just physical, because I had even when my son was in high school and he played football, my son was like quarterback at Hillgrove. Anytime he played Campbell, his one of, I think it was his math teacher's son played for Campbell, and Hillgrove always beat Campbell. So anytime that my son would get in trouble and we would be in meetings, he was like, oh, this so-called football player and this so-called quarterback. And I was like, hold on. What you're not going to do is like put him down to a space. You don't know how he's receiving this. So you're not going to like intimidate him or make him feel less about himself just because your son's team is fucking losing.
Right. Well, see, and this is where it still ties into our title as far as protect our boys. Mm-hmm. You have teachers, and we've seen it on YouTube. We've seen it on different videos. We have seen teachers that will literally downgrade these students in their face.
Oh, for sure.
You know, we've seen videos where you have teachers, if these children are not in the class videoing it, you would never know.
Yeah.
But you have teachers that will literally tell a child, you're not worth anything. You won't go anywhere. So why are you even in my class wasting my time?
Usually boys,
And it is, mostly usually with boys. Now, there's a positive and there's a negative. The negative portion is because what has this child done, you know, to have him in this frame of mind?
Correct.
There's usually something at home, something else going on with that child for them to react that way in class. And instead of a teacher, you know, sitting here, you know, disrespecting the child, maybe the teacher should actually get involved to say, what's causing you to be like this? You know, and I think that's where all just kind of boils in to where we still have to protect our boys, school level, street level, home, all of that.
Okay, Teron has a follow-up, and then we're going to take a comment.
Go for it. You know, it's kids out here that just straight assholes.
That's true.
They do shit to teachers, they do shit to people.
Yeah.
So just because a kid catch an incident one day where a teacher may have got pissed, because again, I'm making $35,000 a year,
that's true.
I got to come here and deal with your bullshit every day. You know what I mean?
Because
my cousin was a teacher. He was a teacher, and he would tell me, he taught the inner city kids in Detroit. He would tell me how the kids come there, talk about him all day, talk shit. Then he said it wasn't, he started talking back about them, they started doing something. Right. You're not supposed to do that. So don't come to my class acting up.
Right.
Because if you go on the streets and do that, they're going to be you.
So I do think that is a problem. Like you said, he was teaching in like inner city in Detroit. When I first moved here, I was working with a program in on the South Side where they were trying to keep kids from going to jail. Right. So I used to go in and like, you know, help work with these like teenage kids that were either your option is you straighten out or you're going to end up in prison. And the majority of the hassle of even getting these kids to pay attention was the parents, because the parents were like, it's time to go. And I'm like, this is actually a court-ordered program. So obviously, like what you have going on at home is not working. So you are literally, your son has now gone through the court system of where they're required to come here to take this course. And you were so caught up in like your own life, right? Mama's ready to go to the club. Mama's ready to, you know, so there's, and even just in like protecting kids in that aspect, we can't put so much pressure on the schools and the outside world. Like we first have to we have to start in the house.
You have to evaluate. Because, I mean, you have them to where you'll have the child who acts out in class, a complete asshole. Mm-hmm. But then when you bring the parents in, it could be an abusive father that's ready to smack the hell out of them.
Quick to tell.
Or a mother who is drunk or on some type of substance. This is their outcry for attention.
Or it could be how I was growing up. Like my mom worked after wasn't an asshole. You know, yeah. I don't want to call it.
Like that's not different.
I mean, like shit, I grew up. My mom worked afternoon, so when I got out of school, my mom was not there until 1 o'clock in the morning.
So it's still an outcry for attention.
No, it ain't outcry for attention. There's just nobody there to tell me no. Or tell me to stop, or tell me what to do right, or tell me to do my books, or do none of that. So there's nobody there to do that.
I actually want to follow up on that, but let's take this comment first.
Few comments.
Couple comments.
I
Come
hate
on,
the
y'all.
comments too. The comments slow up the convo, but I feel you.
What do you say?
I said I hate the comments too. They be slowing up the convo, but go ahead.
I know.
I know. Well,
But
it's
we
just
gotta
that-
take them. We gotta take them. Christian knows my friend that I'm trying to tell you about. Anyway, she said Applebee's. Oh, hey, girl. But anyway, she said that the same topic came up on the night tonight that I tagged her because literally she just had this conversation earlier with a client. And she says the subconscious damage that all of this does is immeasurable. It's infectious and travels for decades into adulthood and even to senior age. Marlon does say,
Oh, that's not fair. You get to smoke. You get to smoke. Smoking?
Don't look over here in my box. Leave me in my box by myself.
everybody sees you.
Okay.
Christian says, pull up on us.
Pull up, girl. Come on, pull up, Christian.
And then Marlon says teachers, school staff, public service workers, social workers are required to report any and all allegations surrounding.
Get Beverly out of here while we read the comments, please.
No.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Yeah.
So just to go back to what T was talking about, I do think that is a big issue, especially in the Black community, where statistically speaking, we come from a lot of single mother homes, right? So where that mother does have to go to work because she does have to go to work, and based on whatever that lifestyle is, based on like how young she was when maybe she had you young, or maybe just whatever that situation is, mama has to go to work, right? And so I do think that did leave a lot of
my belt right now for people's children.
I'm like, there's your microphone. We inside.
But
Sorry.
but I do think that is another thing that we as a community need to discuss more, because it's like everybody is so scared now to even have somebody look after their kid, because we are hearing so much about people touching their children, or people like, you see people on the news, it's like babysitter murdered the child, and you're like, no.
Let me say this. I'm a mother of 5 children. At some point, all 5 of them were in the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody ever watched my kids but each other. And me.
I bless you for it. And like I said, I'm a single parent and I'm obviously through shift. So nobody ever watched my child.
Right.
I
I
go to work at
can't.
9 at night and come home at 6 o'clock in the morning and have them up, dressed, and on the bus by 7 so I could go to sleep.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I know a lot of parents that do not have that luxury.
Right.
And that's why I stress to people a lot. This topic hits home very much so. I went to school with a friend of mine, and he was a music teacher. He was arrested for touching one of our other friends' children. And this man came to Christmas event. We have pictures with him, literally sitting at this kitchen table with all of his children. And he volunteered to give music lessons to my nephew. Something told me against better judgment. I said, listen, we live far. Never once did he ever offer to give it to the girl. It was always the boys. When this man was arrested, I got the phone call, and it really, it
Yeah.
that this is an actual teacher. This is someone that's supposed to provide nurturing and loving and caring, and you violated a child. So, with that being said,
It's hard.
I don't have any words for somebody that, could ever look a child in the face and say that they don't believe them. Because the look on that child's face is pure fear.
Yeah,
And I don't even know the thoughts that were going through my mind, because if that was my child, I mean, it's my nephew. I was raised with his mother, like we were in 3rd grade together.
What age group was that?
He's in elementary school.
Okay, currently.
So, yeah, he's currently incarcerated. He was arrested in Woodstock, Georgia, where my mother lives now. Like, we literally all went to school together. Our children all played together.
And I've had people tell me that I'm too submissive of my children.
Never.
And I'm like, let me tell you this. I was blessed to be able to have babies. True. This room is open. She ain't no more.
Y'all
She
see
the garage.
She caught me because she knew what I was getting ready to say. So maybe you gonna get it mine? No.
You like fuck it.
You know, Sarah, get out here.
You gotta get behind the doors now.
No, that's right.
You still have it. I'm about to get open. They got prime. They got prime. Listen,
They are
You
prime.
pointing at me?
They prime.
I only got
Prime.
one.
And I'm able to carry them and bring them out and mother them. But at the same time, I'm crazy about the thing that can happen because I don't want it to happen to mine.
No such thing.
Now, I've had an encounter, and I was told that I would not reveal because they know who I am and how I'm gonna go to jail quick as fuck. It's not going to be a conversation. Mama's gone. You already know Mama's gone. So I just can't forego the security of my children, trusting whatever little website that has babysitters that come over to my house, or the cousin that comes over to my house. You know, I just, because I think in my mind the thing is gonna happen when I'm not looking.
Yeah.
And now my baby's fucked forever in their mind. Even know much the love, the nurture. Because when I was adopted, I had trauma. My parents didn't know what was going on with me. They got me, and I was a fucking box of crazy. Like at 5 years old, don't know what happened. Then we had one incident where we all know what happened. That's why I don't like bridges and freeways and things like that. But it cripples you.
yeah, it does.
It does. And for that to happen to a child as they grow into their maturity and they live life, it's very hard for them to shake that thing, particularly the boys.
Yes.
Yes,
Particularly
because
the boys.
that was my
Hey.
main thing. It's like, okay,
Kevin was saying something.
No, go ahead,
ahead.
Go ahead, Ashley.
I fear for any child that somebody takes their innocence
Yeah.
because you can't give it back.
No.
You can't
Gone.
redo it. You can't undo it. You can't take the memory away. And then again, like this lady that was commenting, like, how do you? There's no amount of love. There's no amount of nurturing you can ever do to take that from that person. And it's like, okay, yeah, you can put them in jail, but if a dog bites a child, they put it down.
Yeah.
That's
I
true.
think that should apply across the board.
That's true. All right, Kev, so what you say?
All right, so I wanted to kind of shift the conversation a little bit to the ladies, and I see that we got 4 mothers in the building, and do all of you have sons? I'm sorry.
3 mothers.
3 mothers. I'm sorry. All right, do all of you have sons?
4.
No, it's 4. That's 4. I'm sorry, that's 4.
Oh, shit,
Okay.
I can't count. Sorry.
I ain't drunk. I ain't that drunk yet, Sid. Jesus Christ.
She already been tipsy.
All right. All right. So do all the
Hold on.
Okay.
We can't
do
hear. Go ahead.
do all the mothers have sons?
I have
Yes,
a son.
I have a son.
Okay. All right. So let me ask y'all this. Let's push the topic a little bit. Is there a such thing as overprotecting our sons? And
Yes.
when I say that, okay, so perfect. We all
As a
agree.
mother or as a parent?
Well, I don't think fathers do that, but I think it's more so of a mother thing. And when I say that, I mean like the man up, be tough, stop crying. Men don't do that. That type of shit. And then we have the mothers that are like, oh, I want to hold mama's boy. I'm a pamper him and nurture him to the death. So it's like,
No.
is there such thing as overprotecting, as y'all said, and how do we remedy that, ladies?
Now, you do have,
Baby named Sandy. Don't look
as
at
far
my
as
baby
that
named
subject
Sandy.
that you're
It's gonna be a mama's boy.
Remember, I already told you he gonna have a hard time with girlfriend.
as far as that
No,
subject
Olivia.
that you're speaking of, yes, there is a difference between overprotective and being protective of your child, of your son. Now, as Ebony said before, you have a lot of households that have single mothers. I'm a single mother. So me raising my son, I can't teach you to be a man, but I can at least give you some pointers. So as far as just crying
Why are you shaking your head? Why are you
over,
shaking your head?
crying over,
Yeah, I'm with T. I'm shaking my head too, but I'm with T. Go ahead.
no, what I'm meaning is crying over minimal things like, okay, well, your feelings got hurt because I was upset with you. I'm going to talk to you, but I'm still going to be upset. So I don't want you to feel like you have to back down in a submissive attitude or submissive behavior because I'm talking to you about something that you need to be fixing. You know what I'm saying? I cannot teach you to be a man. But I can teach you enough to where no one will walk over you. No one will sit here and mistreat you, or you should know how to carry yourself as a man should, in my view.
All right, Tigo.
What? I'm just.
You
shake
my head.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head too, but he gotta go because he there. So I'm shaking my head too, though.
I'm shaking my head because A, you can't teach a boy to be a man.
Nope,
Only
you can
thing
never.
You gotta do is be a respectful person.
Correct.
That's the only thing you can do. I was
Correct.
raised by a single mother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So she couldn't teach me to be or what to do or how to act for a certain thing.
Yeah.
All she could teach me is be respectful of others.
Correct.
No,
I learn to be a man once I learn by either the OGs in my neighborhood or just people who I looked up to. People who taught me how to be a man. And they still didn't teach me how to be a man. Like, I didn't really learn how to be a man until I had a kid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
But there
I
are
think-
those helicopter parents.
There's a lot of them,
And then
especially like those
there
ones
are
you said.
helicopter parents with grown men.
Girl, listen
I-
here. Oh, Jesus. I got children by these niggas. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Sit down.
If you
So
are
you got her
30 years
It
old
was good.
and you still have not cut the umbilical cord or let your child pop the titty out of his mouth before he's 35, please don't do that. Just 30.
That's because
To the
they did
women.
that. They did that.
Now,
But they did that. They did that when they were younger. And okay, so again, I'm a single mother of a boy. Well, he's now a man. He's now a
Young man.
grown ass man. No, he's a
Grown
grown ass
Oh, he's a
man.
young man.
Yeah, he's
Young man.
okay.
No, because he ain't paying no mortgage yet.
Right, he don't have no responsibility, so he's a young man. Learning to be a man. He's not a man.
Okay. So he's a young man.
Yeah.
Okay. But
His mama raised him well.
I did the best I knew to do.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm honestly, like I sit and listen to other people's stories, and I'm honestly thankful because I had my son at 16. And statistically
He
speaking,
was fucking.
listen.
Shut up, boy.
Yo, T, chill out, man. Shit.
I mean, so
My mom's is 16.
see, this is why you should have been here to kept him out.
Damn, T. My mom's was 16, T. Shit.
Huh?
My mom's was 16, nigga.
Shut the table.
Damn it.
hold on. Okay.
Yo, I hate him, yo.
I knew enough that I didn't want to do that shit again, and I am ultimately thankful that I did have a support system because I had parents that adjusted their work schedule so I could finish high school, that I could go to college, that I could do all these things that I see young girls most of the time not be able to do because they don't have the support system.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, if anybody ever wants to know who I am to like the truest part of my soul and my spirit is anything for young girls, especially. That's why I'm taking her with me tomorrow, girl. I'm always about like embracing young women so they don't have to go because I've lived a fucking life. I have lived a life. I have.
15-year-old.
Your daughter?
Yes.
I'll take her. Yeah.
She's amazing.
Yeah. I will take her because there was so much that I have experienced, but I guess the saving grace for me was that I did have a good support system. So I was able to live and bust my ass and knock my head against the wall 1,000 times, but still be able to go home and they had me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now I think that I'm able to like balance this with that because there's probably not a lot of things that we could talk about that I have not done, experienced, whatever. But at the same time,
Like what?
I thought you were doing all
we're not- another day. There are
Them single mama
there's a few
chronicles.
things that are going to
Them
the
single
grave.
mama chronicles.
Some things are going to the grave. But at the end of the day, I did the best that I could to raise my son to be a good human. Because that like character, I think, and thankfully I have like my father and my brothers and my sister's husband and people around while he was growing that could teach him the things about being a man that I could never show him because the world looks at us differently.
Right.
I don't know what it feels like to walk down the street and assume, like, and be assuming that I'm gonna like harm a person or whatever. Like, right. Like I don't know what that feels like, but I do know that my son is going out into this world every day experiencing that. So go ahead.
So there's two things that I want to say. One, a friend of mine, Amir Williams, shout out to Amir. He just wrote a book called Bates Theory, and it's talking about how single mothers, pretty much, a lot of single mothers treat their sons as their boyfriends.
So I don't do that.
Because they don't want to let them go.
But this goes part of what she's saying, that mothers did not cut the umbilical cord. Some mothers don't cut that, and they do treat their sons as their boyfriend or their man. And
I know why that is, though. I know why that is.
Why is that?
They haven't found a mate. They haven't found a positive role model, a positive male figure for that young man to feed off of, someone to treat them right and show the example of how a young man should be. And I think that's where the problem lies. And I know it's a cycle of, everybody got their hand in it, but I feel like if the women would focus more on, instead of being the independent and I got this and I'm super strong and you be like me, I work 16 hours a day so you can't show no emotions because I can't show any emotions. No, go out there and show what a healthy relationship looks like and give the example, and then we will have that cycle start to change.
I agree with that 1,000%. But from that single, I can't speak from the single mother's perspective. I can.
I'm independent. But motherfucker, you just asked for $20. You independent.
Okay, well that's different. But what I'm saying is, I received so much what he just said because I feel like that shit is true. I feel like that is. God damn it, John! I can't get my thought out. Okay, so I feel like that's true, and I can't speak for all single mothers. I can only speak for myself. With the fact of like, I didn't date, and you and I had this conversation last week about the fact that I didn't date when my son was growing up. I didn't start dating until my son was 16, 17 years old. Because I never wanted to be the mom who was bringing men in and out the house. I never wanted a situation, even though I would meet nice people, right? But we don't know how long that's going to last. Right. And so from my perspective, I can't say for everybody, but from my perspective, it was better to just have him around people that I knew were going to be there and that were going to be consistent, instead of a man popping in just because he may want to like play with me. And then my son's there, and then now my son's got to like say bye to this man, and he's all torn up. I can get over it and handle it, but at 6 years old, 7 years old, you don't understand why this person is leaving.
You don't understand who Uncle Earl is.
True. But at that point, you think that you shouldn't have a life because you have a child?
I've lived a life.
It's not saying not having a life. It's respecting your household.
Correct.
Yes.
Because your children, especially if you have young females, young girls, and men.
Yes.
Because this is what they're seeing mommy as. Oh, mommy has 5, 6, 7 dudes walking in the house. A different dude a day.
Yeah.
But mommy. But listen. But mommy. My bad. But mommy having nobody also says a lot as well.
Yeah.
Which is very true. But it's also how mommy carries herself.
Correct.
If I'm not gonna carry myself all depressed and sad and everything, but my children see me strong, I'm working, I'm out there doing what I have to do.
Come on, girl.
I don't have to be by myself.
But that's the point that he's making.
Correct.
That's the point that he's making.
So that's the message. So that's the message that you're then sending to your son, that this is the type of woman that I want to be with.
But then it's like, I'm not needed, so now I'm like, well, fuck it.
That's just like me, like, you know what I'm saying? I date women, but they don't come around my daughter.
Right.
I don't have to bring them around her. You know what I'm saying? For me to go out and date,
no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I did live a life, but I never seriously dated.
So they didn't intertwine.
Right. So
maybe one or two
people. It's not a problem.
It's a fault.
Why is it a fault? Why is it a fault? Hang on. Why is it a fault?
Because you never know what type of person you could have met. You could have met a good guy. You could have been.
That doesn't mean that. But
I God that she's supposed to do,
he's not going to come to her path, honey. Doesn't mean that.
You got it.
But I did. Okay, so I did meet
a
good guy. And hey, if you're watching,
you got it.
He ain't watching. Stop it.
I met a good guy when my son when my son was 6 years old, and he was around for several years.
He never met your son.
He did. He actually got my son playing football. He's the reason my son played quarterback,
So then
and
why
he
would
was
you sit
around. But it was never an issue about. It wasn't the issue was not the kid with me. The issue is the fact that like the issue is like if shit doesn't work out, if things don't work out here, then now somebody else who has nothing to do with it is affected. So that's why I made the decision that I made, because there was a lot of conversations we had. My son was like, "Are you my dad? Like, are you this? Are you that?" Or, there was a lot of hard conversations that were had, and he loved him, and still to this day, I send him updates on what my son is doing because I respect the season that he was in with that. And after that relationship, I never did it again because it was so hard on my son when that ended. Was because of something that had nothing to do with him. And he was already had I met somebody when my son was like 3 or 4 and it was that situation, I probably would have done it again. But the fact that then my son was 10 and he had a better understanding, I just made the choice to not do it.
So okay.
Let me say this. My son, whenever a man comes to the house to fix something, okay, because I don't have men in my home unless they're friends, and it's a very rarity that male friends come to my home. Like, it's like Jesus is spreading the sea. Settle down.
That's messed up.
But what he does is he go to your room. He watches them. He literally stands there and watches everything that they do because the men folk aren't around, And it is, and I don't stop him from watching or go sit down. I let him see.
Yeah.
And I let him interact with them. I'm always there.
Correct.
I'm always there because you ain't gonna be talking about baby.
But that's why I keep trying to tell you to let your son play sports.
So can we have a real
No, I don't want him to use my baby. I'm gonna kill everybody.
So can we have a real conversation?
Yeah. What's up?
Okay,
That's what we're here for.
Since we talking about like, I want to shelter them from guys and this and that. I'm not stepping into y'all business, but do you guys' kids know their father?
Yes.
No.
Okay, so then for your child who knows their father or his father, I mean, why would he look at any other man different?
Well, because my situation is a little unique. Their father, his father, wasn't around for a while.
Okay.
And currently he's coming around.
Okay.
Which is good.
It's great.
I don't push him away.
You shouldn't.
I never wanted that to happen to begin with.
Right.
So, when we split, I said the only thing I want from you is for you to take care of your children.
Right.
That's all I want. We don't have to be friends, but these babies deserve you, just like they deserve me. Okay, come through. But that didn't happen for years past. And in the meantime, the fix-it-mans, the handymans, and the guys that are fixing things, the friends that, my friends will come through, and that's a man. He sees them at school and on TV, and not in real life, actively doing man things, having conversation, taking interest in him, And so now it's kind of shifting, which is great. I'm truly happy. And I want my son, I want all my children, but particularly my son, to have a relationship with his father, because I have one boy. Boy.
Do you have these conversations with your son?
I do.
Like these
I do.
Because they are tough conversations.
So I have the conversation with my son.
My mom had these conversations with me.
No, I talked to him.
You know what I'm saying? And I think because my mom was a spiritual person, and she never talked bad upon anybody. She always looked at the good in people and stuff. And so she would always tell me as a kid, she was like, no matter what your dad do or don't do, don't look at him any different. He's still your dad. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you can respect him or not, but it's best that you respect him. You know what I'm saying? Just because he don't provide or he don't do this and that, don't dog him out. You know what I'm saying? He's still a man. We don't know what he's going through at that time in his life for him to be there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at things. So when I hear situations about people and their kids and their kids' father, and they be like, well, skip him, he ain't this and that, or whatever. Like, well, what are you talking to your kid about the father? You know what I mean? Are you teaching them to still be a respectable person? Do that kid still respect that man?
Or are you having conversations where that child can hear you within earshot?
And that's another thing. Like, that's things that me and my daughter mom had. You know what I'm saying? My daughter mom loved to do that. And I may be times where, I say I'm gonna come at 6 o'clock and I get there by 7. And she's like, your dad made me sick, right? And then my daughter would tell me. And I had to say, hey, you know what I'm saying? That's cool. You feel that way. You know what I'm saying? But don't say it around her because she gonna tell me.
She's still
Just like same thing. If I was to say something, like, oh, your mom made this shit.
Yeah.
She gonna go tell you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's disrespect. It's disrespectful on both ends.
It is.
It's
Absolutely.
different if I was the type of person who wasn't around or did. Yeah, cool. You say all that stupid shit you want to say.
Yeah.
I don't think you still should say it because you shouldn't pollute that child's brain with that. You know what I'm saying?
Because what happens with children is that they
just,
see who you are.
right.
They see who you
Right.
are, whether
Yeah,
you come around
right.
this month or you come around 10 years from now, 20 years from now, because you have adults, that didn't have any attention from their father, and then all of a sudden Papa come around, and now he's there. Why is he here? Is it because I got this deal? Is it because I'm successful? Because he wasn't there when I was trying to do my multiplication facts and I couldn't figure out 2 times 2, and Mama was at work. It's a thing where you have to have a relationship that is cohesive between you as a mother and your son, how to interact. When you don't have that, these boys out here, they don't know how to have feelings, conversations.
No, we don't.
Because guess what? I look at my son and I love him dearly. I love all my children. I love my son. But and one day he's going to be somebody's husband.
Correct.
Somebody's father.
Correct.
And I will not put trash out there for nobody to collect and say they got it from my house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. So I'm teaching him as a young boy to be respectful, to be mindful, to be responsible, to have integrity. He's a little boy. He's a little boy. He's 9 years old. He's a boy right now. He's baby. He's a little boy.
He's still innocent.
I was a girl at one point, and my son is a boy. Okay, this is where he is in his life. At a certain point in his life, that's going to shift. He's going to become a young man, and then one day he's going to be a grown man, and then one day he's going to have his own family, and one day he's going to be able to father children and be a husband to somebody, and pass that on. But if I didn't do my job as a mother, regardless whether his father is there or not, what am I putting out here? What kind of individual would your daughter encounter one day? Would you want your daughter to encounter my son if he was like, hey, shawty, with the pants on? Come on. This is exactly. Exactly.
I think Kevin has something to say.
I got a hypothetical, and I don't want the ladies to jump through my phone and attack me when I ask this question.
That's what I do. Right. No, we're gonna listen. We're listening.
Okay. All right. Is it fair to say that every broken or messed up man is a result of a woman?
No.
Why is that not
No.
fair? Wait, hold on. Time out. But before y'all answer, no man births a child. So it all starts, our heartbeat, our soul, our connection to the world starts with a woman. So is it fair to say that every broken and messed up man is the result of a woman?
No, because the actual start is from you. We can't create life on our own. It takes you.
Right. You're there.
I'm just saying. No, we just fertilize and nurture. Yeah. You are the seed. So nothing gets created without a seed.
But if you're a single mother and you raise this kid from birth.
But that's not what he asked.
That's not what he asked.
Then what did you ask?
That is what I asked. I asked, is every broken man, it don't matter the situation, it all starts with a woman.
Single or not.
Right. But
no, he's not talking about
single or not, I'm not talking about nobody's situation. I'm talking every broken man. Any broken man.
From our mother. We all got this from our mother. We all got that. But no, that baby would not be there had it not been for you. Right. You were the original creator of all life. Yeah. So again, this is probably one of my ranty moments. So I think when I really do mean this, because I think when men are able to I'm about to do these beers, but I think when men are able to take their place as a man, right, then everything else will follow. Yes. Everything else will follow. So yes, we do nurture the life and we do hold it. Mm-hmm. But really, it takes the both of us to create the shit, because you can't create life on your own, and I can't create life on my own. So really, this takes both of us. So when you have only women in the household or only men in the household, something's getting lost somewhere. Things are falling through the cracks, because where you bring the structure and the this and the that, and I bring the nurturing and the saying, hey, baby, it's okay. We're not full people. So there's a lot of broken people out here who didn't have both parts of that, right?
Okay.
Well, no, I think, cause see, there are some people that had both of them
And still fucked up.
and are still fucked up in the
Yeah.
head because they did not receive what they needed to in that household.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
Because-
So, but again, I guess like still what I'm saying is like both of us came from two people, right? Nobody in here came from one person. So whether or not
Jesus did.
who knew how to show love or knew how to teach us how to do things, that's a different thing altogether. But at the end of the day, every person walking the face of this planet came from a man and came from a woman. That is the fact of
Some are test tube babies.
Egg, I'm a dinosaur.
But it doesn't matter. You came from a sperm and you came from an egg.
No, it was an egg.
Something had to fertilize that egg.
I'm pouring beer. He is doing comments.
Next subject.
Well, she's pouring beer. I'm gonna do these comments right quick. One, Marlon said that's a show within itself. He says that's a show within itself, so we will note that in discuss
Which part, Marlon?
talk about the broken
Okay.
homes. Okay, so going a little bit further back, Terry has joined us. She said a mother teaches her boys by what she allows and entertains. And then Marlon goes a little further back. Marlon said a lack of emotional awareness. The lack of emotional awareness. The lack of emotional awareness in our
What is
community.
Beverly over there talking about?
Fathers should be more protective, but it's okay to show emotion and not be emotional. There is a difference. Christian then goes back and says that this is the importance of what she does as a coach to heal all trauma, and we must go into the subconscious, take inventory, and delete the programmed belief created by that trauma. And what do people have against emotions? Boys that are not taught to feel and work through emotion become men who do not know how to feel and work through emotion. So that goes back to one of the posts that we had in our group chat in regards to, the mother saying, hey, I'll give you something to cry for. What are you crying about? And then
As they get
older, and they have no emotion, and we're dealing with them as older men, and we're saying, can you please just show me some emotion? How do they get to?
But then we also get mad when you're too emotional.
Exactly.
So like what's
But
that?
now those are the mama's boys.
We're gonna do
beer, and then
I don't think that this is the patriarchy candy cane imperial stout
It's a Christmas
by Duclaw. It's Christmassy.
Disrespectful.
It's a stout.
Ew.
Oh yeah, you don't like stouts.
Ew.
Okay, come on.
Right. Come on.
Down to it.
Jesus.
There's somebody that can't do it.
I can't.
This one's
Come
good.
on,
Yeah.
come on. It's good for the soul.
I taste the peppermint.
I'm so
Okay,
scared.
maybe I
Now,
lied.
who buys the beers?
Oh,
She did this one.
I did the last.
no.
She did the last 2 weeks.
I'm doing it next week.
The last 2 weeks.
I'm doing it next week.
I got a
Okay.
closet full of beer I can do right now.
Okay.
Oh,
We will not be doing it, but
Whoa, no.
we will not be drinking.
Oh.
The breweries, I got some stuff
I
everywhere.
actually was okay with this, but I like stouts.
Can we advertise that again on what not to buy?
Don't
So
mind
hey,
it.
They don't like stouts. Ew.
not that one.
Do not buy
I'm
this.
okay.
It's a candy cane.
This is tar.
I gotta go, yo.
Ooh, I'm
I
like,
appreciate it, yo.
in the dark.
Yeah. Nothing about it.
I feel
Yes.
it.
You
Ooh.
ain't seen it?
No.
Oh.
I don't really watch TV.
What
I
about
haven't
Christmas?
been watching TV.
I don't watch
Sister.
So what do y'all do when y'all at home?
I watch
I'm
TV.
rarely home.
I always have music on.
Touch myself.
I have a TV that
Oh, okay.
What you got?
Wait, this a nice place.
Oh.
Oh, she said she touches herself.
I
y'all.
don't refuse that.
Who said that?
Huh?
Oh, now we
Beverly
get
said
to
it.
the
Who said
nitty-gritty.
that?
Yeah, we got
Beverly
sensitive
said it.
topics like that.
What I say?
Y'all need to put Beverly in another room.
Touches herself.
I do.
I need to put Beverly in another room by herself to do her own podcast. She has to be separate from society. I promise y'all, yo.
Got the next
Toys and
week.
all that.
Being comfortable in life.
Y'all got
No, you
toys?
got- I enjoy you
Y'all
a
got
lot.
toys? I know you
Yep.
got them.
Baby,
Hey, hold on, lady. Hey, stop. It's protect. It's protect our boys, not our toys. Let's stay on subject, people.
That's gonna be on the next topic.
I'm
Jeez.
talking about protecting the boys, man.
Angela put her hair up. She's like,
I'm tired of talking about protecting the
She gonna
boys.
wrap the hair up.
Okay.
We talked
Protecting the
about as
boys.
far as like, how detrimental it can be on these boys, as a single mom, going back to what Kevin said earlier, you could sit here and be like, don't cry. You a man, you need to man up.
Right.
In some cases, how you come across can be detrimental and tarnish that child, that son. But it's how you come across. Now, if you come across more of a caring, baby, here, let me sit you down and let me explain to you. Let me talk to you and help you understand why we don't do this. Or why as you growing up as a boy, growing up to be a young man should not be doing this. There's a difference in how you approach it. Now, if you just being straight, get off your ass and stop doing this shit, XYZ, because I said, no, you gonna do this.
Why are you directly?
Because you're here.
Because it's you.
You're fine.
But
I don't take a shit.
Take
as a child, if you're used to your mother constantly in your face, constantly cursing you out, that actually it affects you. It affects you to where, as a child, you have to take it. But as an adult, you're either going to accept a woman walking over you, or you will become the abuser because now that you're older.
I don't think it has to be those two extremes though. But I don't think it has to be those two extremes. I don't think it has to be a pushover or just emotionally void. I think that's where we're getting messed up because there is a middle ground where it's like, as a man, I want you to be able to express to me what it is that you're feeling. Because I think that's
No, you don't. So that's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. That is a lie. Stop lying. Stop lying. If I tell you how I feel, you are gonna be like, oh, listen, you gonna be, girl, this nigga told me his back was hurting, his feet was hurt, and he was standing up all day at work. I can't believe this bitch ass nigga. I can't believe him. Come on.
Okay. So in that regard, I feel like there is a lot of women that do stuff like that because I have seen it. I'm only speaking for me, and so again, I was raised in a household with a
look.
mother
They toasting to what I just said. You seen that? Like, yeah, cheers to the bitch niggas. You see, they just toasted to it.
That is not what they toasted to. That's not what they toasted to.
Settle down.
That was
You instigating on something that don't need to be instigated on.
You need to hit it again. Relax, baby. That's all it was.
Now, what Ebony is saying versus what you are saying are actually correct. What you are saying as far as tearing down a man, you know what I'm saying? As far as how a man responds from how his mother treated him, how his girlfriend.
He's talking about emotions. If a man shows emotion,
that we talk about. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's how they respond off of what they've been used to getting.
That's what I was saying. But that there is a lot of people that do that. And I know a lot of people that do that personally, and I'm like, Lord have mercy. Like there's a lot of women that I know personally that if a man expresses how he feels, it's like, oh, he a bitch ass nigga.
Now wait, time out. It's ways of how they express themselves. Because I got personal experience. You sit here and keep wondering why. If I say, okay, I'm finna get ready to go, and you always gotta say, oh, I don't mean to bother you. I didn't mean to do this. Shut the hell up. I just tell you I got to go.
Okay, so I don't like it when anyone does that. I don't care if it's a man or if it's a woman. It really bothers me when someone apologizes for what they had to say or for what they, or for what they say. Say what you gonna say and stand on it 10 toes. I don't give a fuck how you feel.
Yes.
I don't care. Like so it's not just for a man.
Correct.
It's not for a man that I'm too.
But you always, this person always felt like,
who hurt y'all?
As if, shut up.
Stop it.
What's what they call that?
I'm like, but that is, I do understand that question too. I'm not even gonna dismiss the shit because like I know everybody was like quick to jump. Everybody,
jump on some shit.
Right? And I agree. No, because I agree. I agree with them. I do. Because I know that there was some shit that hurt me that I did for quite a while held on to.
Was it something that hurt you before?
We've all right.
I'm passing. Yeah.
Okay, but listen, anything.
I think that's a
anything
cop
causes
out because I
pain.
feel like
No,
your whole
come on.
life that's the only thing that
Anything
you
that
has
causes
ever.
pain.
So
It
it
does
is.
not matter what it's attached to.
Mhm.
If you are passionate about a certain situation or something does hit home, then yes, you're supposed to say it with conviction. You're supposed to say it with, this is how you feel. But it doesn't always have to derive from a negative place.
It doesn't.
But that's exactly
But
how
everybody's
everyone
got
is
riled up.
read. No, but that's how everyone's read. And it's like the very first show we ever did about the angry black person and the angry Hispanic person. When you say something with conviction or you say something with
You're demonized.
yes, it's automatically a negative tone. And
Yes.
you just fed right into
Yes.
who hurt you.
Yep.
Maybe somebody didn't hurt you. Maybe somebody motivated you.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody put some fire in
Okay.
your ass or told
You're
you
right.
to
That's
put a
my
mirror
fault.
in front of your face
Come
and you
on,
didn't
girl.
like it.
That's my
But at
fault.
the end of the
Preach.
day,
Who
it
hurt
doesn't
you?
always have to be a negative connotation.
You're right.
But
That's my
with
fault.
I do think I
I
think
said
that
that
we
wrong.
I think that we skirt
know
around
it.
this word. No, I think that we skirt around this word hurt because none of us ever like to accept the fact that
That we've been
somebody
hurt.
fucked us over.
Yeah, I'm good
So
with it.
Oh, I can accept
No,
that.
no,
Yeah,
no,
you
that's
pissed
what
me
I'm
off. You hurt me. You
So
mother-
no, but what I'm saying is we try to take the word hurt as if none of us have ever felt it. That's just life. As human people, we feel pain.
Yes.
We feel hurt.
Yes.
We feel hurt.
Yes.
And that's why I'm like,
But it's
I'm not gonna call you no liar, but I'm just
a lot of
saying
people
like
not wanting to
everybody doesn't accept that.
This-
That's the feeling.
this ties into people not this ties into that in particular ties into men not being emotional, not dealing with what they're feeling, and it's not just men, it's women. Like you said, none of us want to deal with this shit.
Yeah.
None
So
of
it's
us
like
want
easier to sweep under the rug.
exactly. So where is it that we begin to actually deal with the shit?
Okay, let me say this. My son lives in a house with a Capricorn mother.
Hey,
Hallelujah.
won't he do
There's
it?
Glory.
Capricorns in here right now.
That's the first time in life I'm outnumbered by.
I just had to
everybody.
mention that
I'm
there
so
are
sad.
there are
It's okay. Hang on, wait a minute. He lives in a house with a Capricorn woman. His oldest sister is a Sagittarius. She's a wonderful woman. She is a good. That's my baby. She's wonderful. His next sister is a Scorpio, and his baby sister is a Gemini. My 5-time boom boom kissy. That boy is a Pisces. He's sweet.
Lord.
He's sweet. Listen, hang on. But the point is, he's very sensitive, and we were all like rah rah rah. And but you know what? At the end of the day, now he's like, okay, all right, I ain't scared of y'all. I'm scared of her because she's mama.
Yo,
And I couldn't believe it because she crazy. Because it's me and her. That Olivia's nuts. I'm sorry. She's
But you
Gemini.
gotta remember, they know their rhythm.
They
They know
know
how to fight. And they
Mhm.
know how to swim in two directions at one time.
They do.
So once he does find his place,
Mhm.
he'll be perfectly
But
fine.
you know what? I think he's there currently. But he is very sensitive. And he's very sensitive and he's delicate. But at the same time, he's learned to have his voice. So before he didn't have it. He didn't have his voice before. He was quiet. He would just let Olivia bully him. The baby, who he's this tall, she's down here. She would run his ass over. That's who she is.
But that's her demeanor.
So what's the
but he's
balance
used
to that? Do you want him to then mistreat the girls?
No, I don't.
Okay.
And I tell him this because there was a time when he would get physical with Olivia, and I'm like, boy, look, you put your hands on my baby one more time, I'm gonna snatch your little ass up. And he was like, okay. I said, listen, you have a household of women. You are a young man coming from my house, and you will never put your hands on me.
But do you teach the girls to not put their
And
hands
I
on
do,
you?
absolutely. And I have to, Olivia, leave him alone. And she's like, well, Sandy, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I want him to understand that his balance is where he is, and he is a young man growing up in a household with strong women. But guess what? The girls that he likes, strong. The girl, and I love it because he's like, okay. But had we just been like, okay, sweet little baby named Sandy, no.
You say that, but then I gotta say that you have a great balance just from what I've heard you on how you deal with your son. Because out of anybody that I know, like even when it comes to him doing shit that could get him hurt in the world, you explain it to him.
I do.
You explain it,
I do.
and it's like, here's the reason why.
Yeah.
Here's the reason why this is happening. And I think a lot of families kind of move past that because as adults we just it just becomes like because I
do,
said
what, do
so.
what I say and not what I do.
Right. So I think.
Wait a minute, I was right.
That's what she's saying. She's commending her for explaining to me why I'm saying do that. And I had to learn that as an adult in the workplace to explain why.
So, okay, go, Kevs.
No, you go ahead. 'Cause you got something important to say. I might not have nothing important to say. Go ahead.
Oh.
Okay. So I don't know that it's necessarily like an important thing to say, but I think just in my understanding of people is that we both have like masculine and feminine energy.
Of course.
All of us do, just as human beings. So it's like, I think as we've kind of progressed more and more and more to where there's no cohesiveness right now when it comes to like men and women. We're speaking two entirely different languages and we're missing each other. We are blowing past everything that everybody's saying instead of saying like, hey, let me take a step back and push this to the side of what I learned. Now I'm old enough to say, let me hear it out. Let me hear it out. But I think where it becomes like, if you show a little bit too much of this energy, then you're perceived one way. And if you show not enough of it, then you're perceived another way. So I think with like men, somehow it's gotten where if you speak your mind or if you show any sort of emotions or show that you care about anything, it's shown as a weakness. When it's not really a weakness, it's a strength for me to be able to say to you, this is how that made me feel. Don't do the shit again because I'm going to address it. So a lot of times, this has happened with me personally, of where somebody didn't like something about me or something that I was doing, and they never brought it to my attention because they were worried about how I was going to react to it. To where I listen to shit, as anybody knows, like I'm open for conversation. Oh, you don't like that? Okay. Like I might have a little pushback because it's me, but at the end of the day, like I'm going to listen to it and respect it. So I think there's a lot of people that have not been listened to or heard, that they just keep going. And even like, not to call you out, but even so many times, Tehran has so much shit to say, and it's so much shit that I want to hear him say, but where people like push, he's like, all right, it's cool. You got it. You got it. So
talk your shit,
like,
my nigga. Don't let them hush you, man. Talk your shit.
2 hours.
Talk your shit. All right. Well, look. Well, I got. Let's talk about sex, because we ain't talking about sex yet, and let's talk about why black boys aren't protected when it comes to sex. Let's talk about why nobody puts emphasis on protecting us.
We can't hear. Say it again, Kevin.
I said I want to talk about sex and why nobody protects black boys when it comes to sex. We put all the emphasis on the women and the young girls, but nobody gives a shit when it comes to little boys about sex. What do I mean? All right, I'll tell you what I mean. When a little boy is a sex machine, you're like, he just a little horny nigga. When a little girl is a sex machine, it's like, oh, she too fast. We need to talk to her. She needs to go to the pastor. What's going on with her mother? We got some concern about it. Like when the little boy is doing it.
You just
Look.
Now, in that aspect,
huh?
In that aspect, Kevin, we actually did touch on that earlier.
Yes.
I get that.
We do need to protect our boys just as well as we protect our girls, because I don't think you
talking about something different.
as far as sexual activity.
Right. We didn't talk
We
about.
started kind of in that direction, but then we kind of.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you from a personal perspective. All right, look, two different scenarios. When it comes to my kids, I got a son and I got a daughter. My son, I got a situation last summer where I found condoms in his book bag. I brought it to his mother's attention. I told her I had it handled, no problem. On the flip side, with my daughter, when there's situations that come to deal with boys in school and stuff like that, her mother's like, okay, look, don't get crazy. Let me handle it. I'm gonna take care of it. I'm gonna situate it. It's so much more concern. It's such a delicate situation. Whereas with my son and his mom, she was like, you got it? Okay, no problem, whatever. I trust you. My daughter's mother won't even let me touch the situation at all. So I'm trying to figure out why it's such a parallel. Why such a difference?
She's scared on how you're gonna react to it, because you're not going to react to it the same way that you have react to your boy, because
Why not?
we talked about this. And we talked about the fact, like, you was just like, oh yeah, he's getting girls and da da da. Now, let's not take out the fact that they are
Nakia's a liar. She's a liar. You are a liar.
Don't forget about
You're a liar.
they're women the same age. And so the fact that you would be like, oh, okay, yeah, he getting girls, da da da. And I mean, I know that you talking your shit as a dad or whatever, or as a man, I would say. But then I was like, don't be different when it comes to your girl. Oh nah, she can't fuck with nobody. She can't do this. She can't do that. So you gotta treat them the same. You gotta treat them the same.
It never happens because the society has already established a double standard, right?
No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't.
Hold on. You said it's not gonna happen.
No, I said society hasn't. There's no double standard when it comes to sex for men and women.
But you ain't gonna high five your daughter.
No. Listen. I'm not gonna high five my son either. I sent that picture to you because I thought it was funny. But I had the conversation with him. I had to talk with him. But all right, look. In terms of double standard, we talk so much about a woman's virginity and how it's so sacred, and it's like it's something that has to be saved and it's only for the perfect person, the perfect situation. When it comes to the dude, it's like a rite of passage. It's like, nigga, you didn't lose that shit yet? What the fuck you carrying that monkey around on your back for?
And that's what's fucking our boys now, because guess what's happened? They goddamn out here fucking these older women, and that's goddamn predatory just the same way.
Okay, so let's go back to my question. Let's go back to my question. Is every now hold on. I asked y'all, is every broken man a product of a broken woman?
Because the fact of the matter is, I remember being a younger girl, and the older man always trying to holler. Yeah, but nobody talks about those young boys that their dad. Who was it? Who was the rapper? Boosie.
Boosie's retarded though.
Nobody's talking about those uncles. Nobody's doing anything when it comes to those men that are taking their sons. They're taking their sons, their nephews, and their younger cousins to get some pussy when they underage.
Those guys are far and few in between. That's not the norm, yo. That's not the norm.
Would you encourage your daughter to do the same? The daughter comes with baggage, okay? Because when that daughter goes off and fucks this man, she got a package. Okay?
I know.
She got a package.
Daddy's
baby.
Mama's baby, daddy's baby. Understood. Yep. But the fact that I'm saying that double standard being created is unfair.
Well, there's a double standard when it comes to men with sex too. Like, nobody cares about us, and our virginity should be sacred. We want it to be special. It should be beautiful. It should be romantic.
No, we do care about you.
No, you don't.
When I found out my son lost his virginity at 13. 13.
Oh, he's a pimp. I'm gonna pop my collar for the pimp. He's a pimp.
3 years younger.
Hold on, wait. Because everybody's asking as if we were all perfect. No.
That's the regulatory age. That is an appropriate time that I would say
appropriate.
Around 13.
That's when you lost yours?
Yeah.
Tut, I hope your mother's not watching this, Tut.
I'm saying that is an exploratory age. And that is the time that they
I was younger than that, so I can go
that's
pregnant by 15. So
actually think about it.
It doesn't matter. But just know that.
Okay. All right.
No, but at the same time, I think for some everybody's like clutching pearls about shit that we've like 9 out of 10 done.
Because I was stopped at young ages and shit like that.
What age did you lose your virginity?
18.
You were 18.
You were 18 live. Kevin, how old were you when you lost yours?
Kevin, and you better tell the motherfucking truth.
First of all, whoa. We're not gonna do that here. No.
talking about, but I'm just saying.
Y'all, we have lost our other panelist.
We have lost Kevin.
He is here still. I think he was just having.
No, mine is gone.
Yeah, he gone.
Kevin said, no,
Kevin
look,
gone.
mine says stop in the name.
Yeah, he gone.
Kevin gone.
Okay, so
Okay,
this is
okay,
this
we're
is
gonna
the
drink
Brooklyn Winter Lager.
No.
It's a lager. It's not.
It's a lager. It's not a stout.
Oh, no.
This one's not bad.
Uh-oh.
I like this one.
Go make this one too.
Here, you can have
Just
one.
gonna mix them all
Okay,
together.
so I feel like since we've lost Kevin, it seems like a good place to kind of like
Come to an end.
yeah, it seems like a good place to kind of wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
All right, final comments, Sidra.
He's trying to get that
I think in the final comments on our topic is just in all actuality, you know, keep an eye out on your children, male and female. You know, don't disregard the things that they come to you about. Don't just overlook it or think, oh, you're just being dramatic. You know, actually pay attention to them, men and women, you know, boys and girls. I know our topic is protect our boys, but also protect your girls too. There's a lot of human trafficking out there for boys and girls. Just keep an eye on them. Know your worth, know your kids, know what's going on with them.
Hey, family. Oh, I feel like I have so much to say. Jesus. I want anyone and everyone that's around children to please keep your eyes and ears and your heart open, because even when you don't have children, I feel like there is still a certain amount of awareness that we have to be accountable for as adults. Again, there's just nothing you can do when a child has been violated or any type of innocence has been taken away from that child, not even just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Equipped your children with every right to protect themselves, and just love each other, family. That's all we can say.
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna say, piggyback on the same thing that these ladies said. Just make sure that you keep your eyes and your ears open, and then listen, and trust, believe in them, because no child's word should go unheard. At the end of the day, keep your eyes open, keep your ears open. Make sure we protect these kids, boys and girls. They are very important. They're the leaders. They're the future leaders. And you got to remember, like Beverly said, you know, you're sending them out and you're raising them, and you're gonna send them out in the world to deal with other people. And we shouldn't have to worry about growing up and trying to heal from our past. The same way that a lot of us are trying to heal from our past. We wanna raise children that are not damaged already.
I'm about to do that.
All right, Beth.
At the end of the day, as parents and as a community, our job is to uplift the youth and to show them a better version of who we are, so that they can be a better version of what they don't even know yet, and they're learning about who they are. If we don't listen and we close our ears and our eyes to what they have to say, what does that say about us? How does that impact us at the end of the day? Because when they misstep, we're responsible for it at the end of the day. And if we are not there to be able to guide them, or if we are not able to guide them, we have to be able to have a wherewithal where we can use our resources and the community around us. If I can't do something, I'm gonna look to my sisters and my brothers and say, hey, my son needs to play basketball, and I'm crazy. I'm going, and I'm gonna lose my shit if he falls. Can you take my son to go play basketball? Can you enhance his life so he can be a better person for your daughter one day?
Oh, for sure.
Like, for shit, because I don't want my son to be out here misrepresenting our family and misrepresenting who he is or who he could be. Because it takes one mistake.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
That's all it
Just
takes.
one.
Yeah.
Come on, team.
Come on.
Come on.
Just because I act like an asshole and talk shit, I'm going to tell people to invest in yourself. I have a therapist and a life coach. Just because I act funny don't mean I ain't serious out here. So, if you're passionate,
Thank you.
Thank you. You see
Passionate.
or you feel a certain type of way, get a therapist. Nothing wrong with it. I love it. You know, I talk to my therapist once a week. I talk to my life coach twice a week. It's the best thing ever. You know what I'm saying? I can be honest with somebody who's not biased to how I feel, who won't judge my opinion.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, do that. Get a therapist.
Heard.
Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Therapy in the black community.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yes, therapy and that's
You're not crazy.
That's
Yes.
we never
talk
talk about
about it.
like any sort of mental issues.
Well, I got there because both my parents had passed, so I needed that to keep me from spiraling down the path I saw I was going.
Yeah.
So, to keep me off that ledge, I was like, hey, man, I need to talk to somebody about this shit.
No, for
I
sure.
need to cry.
But
But the fact
wise
that
enough to be
you
able to do
acknowledge
that.
it.
You're aware.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
exactly.
need to
enough to
cry,
do it.
please.
And
Can
a
I
lot
cry?
of young men are not able to
Oh, no. Let's think
stop
Accept
and think.
You don't wanna
Not
cry
just
yourself?
Their
No.
pride.
they're not
You're
able
not
to stop
biased.
and
It's
think.
usually their
hey,
pride.
The pride.
They
There's a
think
wall.
they think that they're going to be weaker amongst their
Of course.
friends and
Right.
associates.
But that's what we teach.
That's what we teach.
That's what we teach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing with no snitching, piling, all that. That's what we teach.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, it's like fuck that. I'm
So
so
cool.
If it
Oh, yeah.
comes down to me being in
I'm
prison
sorry.
for 20
I'm not
years,
going to
oh,
jail for
shit,
now. One of y'all
Hey,
motherfuckers.
come on, I'm
Like,
trying to get some thoughts. Come on now.
No.
Ebony.
Okay, let me make it quick
Comedy.
so we can go thoughting and bobbing.
Not in the bottom.
Yes.
Trying to shoot some clubs up.
Oh my
Settle
god.
down.
It's
It's hump day. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Wait. Okay.
Y'all ain't right.
Come on now.
Okay, so final words. I would say that I think we all just need to keep in perspective that none of us are perfect. I know I've had issues with my dad in the past, and as I got older, it was one of those things that I just had to realize as an adult, people do the best they know to do, right? So some of us are coming with parents who didn't necessarily have the bandwidth to give us what we needed. So at this point, not be so hard on our children and not be so hard on ourselves when we get it wrong, because we are all bound to get it wrong at some point. There is no perfect parent. There is no instruction guide. There is no rule book. There is no nothing. So I think if we can just get past us putting so much pressure on these boys being emotionless and not being able to speak their mind, because we are already living in a world that tries to silence them, and at home we need to allow them the safety and the peace to be able to say whatever the fuck it is they need to say, and that be okay. And I think even us as women in adult relationships, we do have to realize too, there are so many men that are still mentally 13 that we're dealing with, that we do have to take a step back and not like belittle them and berate them, but just take a moment and say, hey, maybe he didn't have all the tools that he needed, so maybe I can plant a seed here. Maybe I can plant a seed. It ain't gonna be nobody that I'm gonna be with, but I'm gonna plant a seed. No, but that is real, and it really is real, because I can tell you the majority of the majority of men that I dated are not people that I would ever be with today.
So say that.
Yes.
Say that. Say the men that you.
I think everybody has dealt
Many
with a
of
man
us.
that's not in a good space, right?
Yep.
So if I'm talking about
women that's not in good spaces too.
and
There's
I
a man
agree
here
with
too.
I agree with you. I'm
There are people, period.
Oh, you talking about y'all?
I'm talking about
Okay.
me.
As a whole,
I am
there are
literally
people
just-
that you
Don't do
cannot
that. Don't do that.
realize.
Trigger.
Emotion.
No
Trigger.
trigger.
I'm sorry. No, not trigger.
Passionate.
Passionate.
It's
He
not
got
even
passionate.
It's not even passionate. I just want y'all to, if it's
Want to
five
be an
women
even playing
and
field.
one man, I don't want it to be where.
Because your other man bailed out.
I don't know if
Yeah,
I
he
need to or
bailed
not.
Okay.
That would make
I
it
say
solid
no might
too.
have failed.
There are people in general. Doesn't matter. Men, women, transgendered, whatever. There are people in general that are walking this earth right now that cannot be fixed.
Then I would rather you say that. I'd rather you say this.
You
People.
can't breathe
All right.
life back into them.
Cool.
You
I would-
can't nurture them.
I get
You
it.
cannot
Come on.
vet them. You can't do anything with them.
You
can
can't
just
love
pray
them
for
enough.
them and keep
I
moving.
understand what you're
That
saying.
little
I would rather
comment
be say
got
people.
hijacked.
Oh, go ahead.
You
Go
know
ahead.
what I'm saying?
I'm,
I
okay.
just hate when people say just generalize shit. You know, like just men.
Go to bed, T.
I
Go to
didn't
bed.
even say
Go to your
that.
room.
I didn't even
She
say
didn't
that.
say that. She
I did
said
not.
what
I
her.
said I'm.
After I
I'm
corrected it.
Go to bed, T. Go to bed. That's
Okay.
it.
No,
No more
no,
tea.
because I
BGA.
spoke.
As we allow Ebony to finish her final statement.
I said what I said, and what I'm still saying is the fact that as people, as a whole, I spoke on all of us. I didn't say women plant seeds.
All of us.
I said people. I said we all plant seeds, right? So there are things like
Hush your mouth.
I'm
Hush
gonna
your mouth
fight
right
him
now.
after this camera
Watch
goes
him.
off.
Hush your
I'm gonna
mouth.
just full on box this man.
I'm
But
tired.
at the end of the day, like, just do the best that you can do and understand that you will not always get it right. And don't be fucking hard on yourself for that, but always be willing to plant a seed. Where you see that a seed can be sown, because somewhere down the line it may or may not grow, whether that person nourishes it or not. So, with that, thank you so much for joining us. We love you. We will see you next week.
Later,